is we should truly get to know each other as individuals before the unprotected sex and having children. We should really think about the life that the child is going to be left with or having to navigate through as we decide to have kids. And we don't do these things. And so you end up in a space where, similar to what the book is explaining, a man's purpose is more important than his relationship. And for a lot of women, understand that is not something that is an easy concept for them to grasp. Your purpose must come before your relationship as a man. So what you intend on doing with yourself in life, what drives you, right, in life, that thing you're trying to get to has to be bigger than just a relationship. And this is why oftentimes we push the issue to be in a relationship. And as a man, you end up having regret, or you end up years of just unhappiness and bitterness and anger and resentment towards the woman and the family that you're tied down to because you never fully got into a purpose. The other thing is, you see a lot of women that they get turned off from the relationship. This is why we initiate so many breakups and things like that, because you get in it and you realize how much you have to sacrifice in the relationship with the unhappy ass man. In the beginning, it seemed like all I needed was just to get him to lock in. I just needed the idea of us being in a relationship. And then as things move forward, you realize that is not the case. Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes, love. Yes. Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
This is Tanya. I have been in a marriage. It will be 10 years in September. We have been together 19 years in November.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say, so many moments have happened through these years, and everything you're talking about is like dead on, because I have had moments where I have said, wow, if I could turn back the hands of time.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even push for this relationship like this.
Yes, I promise y'all, I have literally said, this man probably wouldn't even stood a chance if I was as sharp as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to him, but
right.
just the growth and the development that has went on during the process. Me getting to know me getting into different rooms and just being accountable for who I am and what I stand for. When we first met, I was very independent. 2 jobs. I didn't have no children. I could come and go as I wanted to. And then it's like the whole dynamic changed, once we started dating. And it's more than just looks. It's more than just what feel good in the bedroom. It's more than, and so we have developed, along the way. And I still feel at moments that sometimes we could do a little bit more. And that go for both of us, And I really, this is a very, very good topic, because I literally was just thinking this probably last week, where I'm like, at this point in my life, I just feel like sometimes we do outgrow situations.
Absolutely.
And
this is why
people.
That's why it's so important to I'm gonna let you finish. That's why it's so important to make sure within your relationship, y'all are growing together and pacing yourselves.
It is so true. And I feel like I have not so much outgrown, but I feel like I want him to catch up to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody, needs help and needs work, but it's like, when you're putting so much in and then there's very little coming back in, it's almost like, okay, what are we doing here? So it's more of me just kind of evaluating and just making sure that moving forward. And what I've worked on is my peace. I always said, if it costs me my peace, it's too expensive. And so some things I have to just let go and let God. But, I really, really like this topic.
I'm going to tell you something, right? And it is take a second and breathe as I say this. And me and a couple book club members have had this conversation. But when you look at relationships, right, a lot of us, you kind of take certain subjects I talk about and you overlook their attachment to what you're going through right now with relationships, because they seem so not applicable to your situation. So let me say this, right? Within our culture, I often talk about the pandemic that we have of how our youth is being raised and how family is being presented and taught about or not taught about, right? The dynamic of family being valuable, unity, creating a system, creating that pack that y'all have heard me describe, rather than having a family unit that's like a herd. When you look at animals that run in packs, they are very organized and calculated and intentional. When you look at a lot of animals that run in a herd, they kind of trample over each other. Like the movement is not very thought through, besides the idea that we just run at a decent pace to where we don't trample over one another, right? And so I'm saying that to say this. When you look at the pandemic that's going on within our culture and our community with family, you don't realize that as we educate ourselves and as you become a part of that percentage that starts to look at these things different, you start to make your compatibility pool smaller. And so if you are not truly moving around and dating where you're putting yourself in new environments, you are less and less likely to find somebody that's on your level. And so as you educate yourself, as you wake yourself up to a lot of things, as you change things about your character, if you know, like I know, you start to care about things being different within our community as a whole. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
The more